I want to start off with a question, as I usually do. Was Jesus really tempted? Was he? Was he really tempted? I mean, was there a chance that he could have done something terrible? I mean, if he's really who he says that he is, the only Son of God, 100% fully divine, can he really be tempted away from himself? Have you ever wondered this? Thought about this? How could Jesus reject himself? Oh, we do it all the time. We do it all the time. We know the person that God has called us to be. We know the person we want to be. We agree with God. And yet on the regular, we go against God's ways. Knowing that our actions are harmful to us and harmful to other people, we do it anyway. Yes, we are only human. But if Jesus is truly 100% human, he has to experience temptation just like we experience temptation. He has to be tempted away from his calling, just like we experience every day. So what are these temptations? And why are there only 3? Why aren't there more than 3? I mean, he was in the desert for 40 days. You think of more than 3 temptations, can you? Why only 3? Well, the quick answer is the 3 temptations really represent sort of all temptations. They're kind of the 3 categories of every temptation that there is. We talked about this before, I know. So let us take a moment and kind of review the 3 temptations just really quickly. First, turning the stones into bread to satisfy the desires of the flesh. This is probably the most common temptation. We want to manipulate the material world around us to suit our purposes. This is high on everyone's list. I remember when I was a young kid, there were a couple of TV shows that were in reruns at the time I was a child. Bewitched. Remember? And I Dream of Jeannie. You're smiling because some of you are at that age. You know, some of you younger people, you're like, what is he talking about? TV land shows? I don't know. Where they would, snap their finger or twinkle their nose and they could turn things into stuff. And as a kid, I watched that. I was like, oh, I wish I could do that. That would be so awesome. So I grew up kind of with that, I don't know, desire, fantasy to be able to change the world into what I wanted it to be. So there's an element of disappointment that I don't have that control. Then there's number 2. When we put God to the test, that happens often as well. It's pretty common. I involve myself in harmful pursuits, thinking it's not so bad. I'll survive. Many people do this as well. That's a common prayer. We even do it together as a church. God save me from the consequences of my bad choices. It's amazing that God still shows up and shows us grace despite our bad choices. We jump off the cliff all the time. We land on our keister, and it's horribly painful. And we want God to heal our broken bone. And there's number 3. This is the one that may be less common, but it's the one that nobody likes to admit. Very hard to admit. The one where we manipulate other people. That's a terrible temptation. No one wants to admit their participation in manipulating others to serve their own purposes. What did the devil say? If you bow down to me and worship me, I will give you all the people under your control. Terrible. Terrible. What a temptation this is. We stop putting God number 1, and we take on the role of God ourselves, and we use our power and our influence over others to serve our own purposes. It happens all the time. Do you see this in others? Do you see this in yourself? It's so hard to admit. Sometimes we have to have third-party observers, counselors, help us to see our destructive behavior in our relationships. So let's summarize. 1, an attempt to control the material world against what God intended. 2, control and manipulate God himself by putting God to the test. And 3, controlling and manipulating other people to serve ourselves instead of serving God. History is filled with humans going against God in these 3 ways. Our own personal history is filled with examples of participating and succumbing to one or more of these 3 temptation categories. What about the Israelites in the desert? They're a good example. Sorry for my nose. Do you remember? They collectively get tempted away from God as soon as they're brought out of the land of slavery. The first issue was we're sick of eating manna, right? They were hungry, tired from all the travel. They long for steak dinners, right? They're like, oh man, back in Egypt, the fast food was so much better than what we're eating now. Why don't we go back? It was so much better, right? And then they worshiped the golden calf. They tested God. Actually, the whole passage that Jesus quotes in Deuteronomy 6, I encourage you to go read that in your devotional time. It's all about false gods. Don't follow the gods of the people around you. Don't follow false gods. For the God who is among you is a jealous God. The very, very next line is, do not put the Lord your God to the test. He's quoting it in the context of that whole statement. And then finally, at the end of the years wandering in the desert, when they are about to enter the land of promise, they chicken out. They don't enter because they're afraid to follow through with God's plan. They don't trust God. And I think that's us too. I can see myself in that. We have trouble following through with God's will. We're afraid to engage with our communities and connect with God's kingdom. Oh, we want to. We talk a good game, but when it comes to really engaging with the land, with the mission field that God has given us, we're afraid of rejection. I am too. I'm as guilty as you. I'm just as afraid as you. I talk a good game, but when it comes down to it, so many times I'm chicken. More times than I want to admit. But Jesus wasn't afraid. Not only did Jesus reject the devil all 3 times, causing him to flee from him, Jesus did enter the land of promise on a donkey, a beast of burden. Jesus